welcome back to my channel. I am Nicole Frolic of Inflexible Me, and today I'm going to be doing the October energy forecast. Before we jump into the reading, I just want to let you know that I use these energy forecasts. I go into more detail on them, on how these influences are affecting our own healing and what's kind of coming to the surface for us in the alchemy program that I do. And we're going to be doing our October call on the second Sunday of October, which I believe is the 12th, if I'm not mistaken. And so if you're not joining, you want to join in and get more clarity, I'm going to go into a deeper read as well as whatever downloads come through. All the information is in the description below for you guys to join. So for October, let's find out what are some of the influences that are going to be coming in energetically for us that will be, okay, we have one. Okay, we have Lodestone, Earth Embrace is one of the first energies coming in. We have Celestite, Knowing. What other energies will be coming in for the month of October 2019 that we need to be aware of to bring into the forefront of our consciousness for the month of October 2019? Sapphire, Spiritual Truth. I want to pull another one actually. Whoa. We have Black Tourmaline, Protection. Interesting. Spiritual Truth, protecting your spiritual truth, increasing your inner knowing, the knowing that you receive through the higher consciousness. Let me just sit with the cards for just a moment and I'll be right back with your reading. Okay, so there is a definite theme running through this entire reading. It comes up in 3 out of the 4 cards, but really it's all tied together because the first and the fourth card really tie the whole thing in. So the main theme here for October is, do you trust yourself? Do you truly know your truth? Lodestone, when Lodestone, Earth Embrace comes up, this is signifying that throughout the month of October, we may find ourselves being polarized. We may find ourselves moving more into the feminine aspects of life or the masculine aspects of life. And so the guidance coming through with this card is for us to be aware of where we're spending more of our time. Are we spending more of our time in the feminine energies of spirit and emotion, or are we spending more of our time in the physical aspects, such as the mental and physical, so the masculine aspects of the mental world and the physical world? Both are important, but when we tend to spend more in one area than the other, then we tend to be out of balance. And Lodestone is really asking us to ground our energy for the month of October so that we don't become polarized, and to initiate ourselves to walking the path between the polarities, the void of the polarities. There is information in the void of the polarities this month that will assist us greatly because we have Celestite coming up next, Knowing. Now, before I get into Celestite, I want to say for all of you, Lodestone is a stone that activates our first chakra, the base chakra, as well as the Earth Star chakra. So there's this calling to perhaps use either or both chakra activations at this time. Use them in your meditations by activating. The Earth Star chakra is a silver star chakra. It's the silver light ray. And so grounding yourself, imagining you can actually bring the earth star chakra into your heart and then allow it to drop down into the earth as a grounding technique through using the silver ray. I find that's a really beautiful way to ground. You can also ground through your root chakra, grounding the energies. So the reason why Lodestone has initiated this reading in finding a way to walk the path between the polarities and not allowing ourselves to get pulled into the polarization of things. Now, when we talk about the polarization of things, it is within you first, but you'll see it reflected in your outside world. It's easy to become polarized, especially at these times, with everything going on in the news around the world and all of that. Many of you are aware that there is a huge movement for division, and Lodestone is a stone that helps bring back into union within yourself so that you may reflect the union back out into the world without having to force anything outside of you. Which I say that because celestite, knowing, is about knowing your truth. Do you really know your truth and feel confident with it? It's interesting because very similar messages come up with sapphire and with celestite. They're almost mirroring one another in their messages, but celestite is a higher communication stone. It helps to open up channeling. So I'm getting the sense that there are going to be energies coming in through October that are going to help us facilitate the channeling if we're in the right space to receive those energies, to connect with them, and be allowing yourself to come out of the polarization of masculine and feminine, either side, and finding that void between the polarities will increase your ability to receive communication through the higher self and what other beings or entities are trying to communicate information with you right now. Perhaps even it's just you trying to receive communication from the collective. All of this information is going to be more readily available to us in the month of October. And so celestite is asking you to ask yourself, if you know that you're right, is there such a need to profess it so loudly to the world or to someone else who sees differently? It takes us out of the void, and it usually is what's the word I'm looking for? It's a projection of our own. Oh gosh, what is it that I'm looking for, this word? Uncertainty, okay? The level of uncertainty of our own truth, knowing how certain are you, okay? This is getting a little wordy. Basically, celestite wants you to know that if you feel so confident in your truth, you can speak it, but you won't feel the need, especially when you're in the void of the polarities, to push it on others in a sense of perhaps there'll be arguments that come up or conversations that could go into a very heated debate. I get this sense that many of us are going to be tested. There's going to be a level of testing here to see how strong are you in your own truth, and knowing of that truth, to not be pulled into polarization with someone else in your external reality. Okay, so that's what's really coming through. So there are going to be moments where we will be tested in October to take us out of that void of polarities, out of that space of balance and knowing our own truth. And so be aware of that going through October. If you find yourself in a situation where you find yourself being polarized with someone else, or perhaps even polarized in your own thoughts, something might be trying to cause more division within your mind, those negative thoughts coming out, be aware of that and bring yourself back into harmony. So using lodestone to ground yourself. The third card was sapphire, which again is spiritual truth. And with sapphire coming out in spiritual truth, the message is very similar here. with the spiritual truth coming out, the message here is, again, are you being truthful with others and yourself? So again, there's this test, there's this idea of a test coming through that will put things into motion in your external environment to see if you are actually being honest with yourself about something. Truth and trust are huge themes for the month of October. The guidance through Sapphire is to always return back home to love, because unconditional love is where truth always resides. And this is something that I feel like we're going to be really tested on. Now, the reason why I say that is because we then have Black Tourmaline coming up, protection. And the main message here with Black Tourmaline coming up for protection is, can you protect your space within the void of the polarities? How easily can you allow negativity to pull you out of it? It could not just even be the negativity of others around you, external environment. It could be the negativity of your own thoughts. Being hyper aware of what's trying to pull you out of union with yourself is important this month, because I'm getting this message coming through these cards. It's a very spiritual month, October. There's a lot of ascension energies coming through that are going to be available to us to make big gains in our growth, but also our ability to communicate what we're learning through either listening or through speaking, and knowing when it's time to do one or the other. Okay, so again, it's this idea of the masculine and feminine energies coming through. This idea that there's times for the feminine, which is silence, listening, taking it in, absorbing, allowing, and then there will be times for the masculine where you need to speak up, you need to speak your truth, but you're going to speak your truth with a certain knowing that doesn't need to come through in a way to convince others. You speak it with a level of confidence. And Black Tourmaline is asking you, are you truly confident in your truth? Okay, so there's going to be some tests through the month of October that are testing our own confidence in our truth and how we deal with that. Do we become reactionary or do we stand strong? So again, moving back to Lodestone, I feel like this is the anchoring point for everyone through the month of October, that use the Earth Star chakra, ground yourself through the base chakra, and allow that energy to really ground you into the earth and embrace that energy so that you never get taken out of your anchored truth. Okay, so it's almost like you're anchoring your truth into the earth to hold you in place so that nothing can take you out of the void of polarities, because that's what's going to be testing you. Now, it doesn't mean that if you fall out of the void that you failed or anything like that. It's just there are lessons here to be learned, and just to be aware of that, that's going to be really coming through a lot. Okay, so this is the reading for the month of October. If you guys need any more information about me, you can head over to my website, inflexibleme.com. I have a newsletter there. Also, again, if you want a deeper understanding of these energies and how the planetary influences are lining up with this to provide us with more lessons for growth, all that information is going to be discussed on the October call for the Alchemy program. You can join in the link description below. Again, also my podcast. I will be interviewing someone for this channel and as well on the podcast to get a deeper interview. So it's going to be really interesting on the suppression of truth and our health. And I'm excited to bring her on. So look forward to that coming up very soon. If you're on my newsletter, you'll probably get notified of that ahead of time. And guys, I love you all. If you need any more information, all that information in the description below. Have a wonderful month of October, and I will be back with you all real soon.